I don't even know where that data came from. Like that fact, I should say. I don't know where that fact came from.
The second BC before COVID here, right?
Never heard that one
But
before.
you're looking at about a 5.5 month supply.
Getting close to that six
You
months?
are, yes.
Healthy market. Whoever said that.
Yep. Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Kristin Macari, and I'm here with your host,
Jeanine Corcoran, broker for Corcoran Connect, a real estate company.
It is time for our monthly market report. Actually, we're a little overdue, but that's okay.
Yeah. And we're going to change it up next month.
Yes, we're going to do something a little bit more fun to bring you this information, but still get you the details that you're looking for. So you want
to listen, Kristin is a numbers girl all the time, and we like thrive off of this stuff. But then we started thinking that possibly not the normal everyday consumer who is analytical, likes numbers like we do.
Right, exactly.
And more so her than me.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll identify some trends for you, still give you some numbers, but at least it won't be, straight down the list. But we're going to go ahead and kick off with 34769.
Yep, we're going to go 34769.
See what happened in St. Cloud, Florida this month. And this is for August of 2024.
Yep. So 34769, we had a total of 30 properties that sold. So 34769, of course, is your downtown area in St. Cloud, the state streets. We had 30 that sold, and 23 of them, of course, were single stories, and they came in at $251.09 price per square foot. And we had 7 two-stories, and they came in at $209.69 price per square foot.
I feel like that's a lot of two stories for 34769.
That's what I thought too. I thought that too.
There's not very many two stories in 34769, so that's crazy. Your month over month averages are up 1.5% downtown, and your year over year averages are up 6.7%. Oh wow! So they're seeing some gains in 34769, which is not surprising. That's probably our most affordable zip code that we have, homes in. Current median days to contract is 36. So it's even taking over a month to get under contract in 34769, which was not necessarily the case, for the past couple of years. And days to close, it's about 70. So you're looking at just over 2 months to get closed, and a little over a month to get under contract. There's currently 90 active properties. So with the 30 that we had sold this month, you're looking at a 3-month supply of inventory.
Not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
And then in 34771, which is usually our busiest zip code, we had 75 properties that sold. 42 of them were single stories, and the price per square foot was $254.51. And 2 stories, we had 33 at $205.03. And
so that brings your month over month averages down. It's down actually 5.7%. Wow. So almost 5.8%. And year over year, you're actually seeing a little bit of a decrease of about 2% in that zip code too.
Shocking.
Yes. Shocking. I'm shocked. And then for your median days to contract in this particular zip code, we actually only focus on the resale homes because the new homes, sometimes the data can skew. So it took about 69 days to get under contract. So it's like 2.5 months. To get under contract, and then 116 days to close. So that's almost 4 months to get closed completely in the 34771 zip code. So something to keep in mind if you have a particular date that you need to be out by, you're going to want to plan some time to be on the market. There's currently 312 active properties. Again, that's not every single new construction home that's out there. That's just what's listed in the MLS. With the 75 sold, that gives you about a 4.2 month supply.
Ooh, we're getting close to 6.
Yep. And what happens at 6? What's like the old wives' tale, if you will, or historical data?
I don't even know where that data came from. Like that fact, I should say. I don't know where that fact came from. But even when I talked to Aunt Barb, Barbara Corcoran, she always says 6 months is healthy. So somewhere along the way, that's what the experts say.
Right. Well, I was going to say, I think I've only ever heard you refer to that statistic as something that she said.
Oh, is it true?
So I don't know. Like, is it like a widely accepted,
we could Google
thing? I guess it just depends, because if you think about it, right, pre-COVID, okay, so the second BC, before COVID here, right?
Never heard that one before.
But the second before COVID, I don't think that it was unnatural or people were antsy if their house didn't sell within 2 months or 3 months. Like, I think it was just more accepted to be on the market. I think nowadays, because we went through that crazy period where your house would be on the market for 24 hours and you'd have 55 offers and, like, I don't know that the tolerance from people, like, they think that there's something wrong if the house is on the market for 3 or 4 months. So I wonder if the statistic of a 6-month supply was more appropriate before COVID when people were more tolerant to longer, they were more patient.
Yeah, but the 6-month supply fact
right.
was like, even when I started real estate in 2005.
Well, that's what
it was
I'm
only
saying.
6 months.
Right. But 6 months was like 6 month supply was like healthy and like people weren't
panicking.
I guess what tips the market from being a buyer's market to a seller's market, right? And so I think that, like, if you have a 6-month supply, right, that means that there's an ample choosing for buyers. Buyers have choices, right? And sellers have choices. They have potentially multiple offers. So where's that tipping point for like sellers? Like, is it a good book? I don't know. I didn't read
The
it.
tipping point.
But like, where's that price? Where's that point that like sellers are like, because we've seen it in our local community where a seller put their house on the market and it wasn't sold in 60 days and they like panic sold at like a ridiculously low price. Do you know what I mean? So like, I guess what I'm saying are people not willing, are not as patient putting their house on the market to get a better price, that they're lowering the price, you know what I mean? To keep it at a low supply.
Right.
But we're still
But then
more
that
of a
depends on the
buyer's
situation too, though.
Right.
Right. I mean, you go into a situation, we're getting divorced. They don't want to wait 6 months to sell their house. You know what I mean? They went out yesterday.
They're like, I'll take the first buyer with a pulse.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know. I'm interested to see like if there's any kind of economic studies.
I'll do research for next month.
Okay.
About.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Where that 6 month thing came from?
Where that 6 months. And if my sister Barbara's the only one that shows up, I'm going to give her a call.
I'm going to be like, I've been saying this my entire
we could call her maybe on the cell phone, have her on the videos like, Barb, seriously?
Yep. Tell us the data. So I would love to see that, and I'm really curious about trends and habits with sellers and buyers before COVID versus, now.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of things changed in the past, 4 years that like really
For sure.
are crazy. So anyway, all that to say, what happened in 34772?
34772. So now we're talking about out by the manor. 34772. We had 66 houses sell, and 45 of them were single stories at 223.58 price per square foot. 21 two stories at 188.40 price per square foot.
And so your month over month averages are down about 4.6%. In 34772, and your year over year is down about 4.6%. Oh, that's interesting. They're like almost exactly the same. It's actually 4.57 month over month and 4.58 year over year. So not much, difference there. Your median days to contract are 61 days. So again, 2 months to get under contract, and days close is about 93. So a little over 3 months to get closed.
So far, who had the longest wait?
Right now is 7-1.
Right now,
but
7-1,
but we haven't gotten to 7-3. So
okay, that's right. That's next. Let me hit 7-3.
Well, and then really quick, in 34772 with your 248 active properties, you're looking at about a 5.5 month supply.
Getting close to that 6.
Yeah,
6
you
months?
are, yes.
Healthy market. Whoever said that.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're in 34773. So I am curious, Miss Number Lady. We had 37 properties that sold.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
26 of them were single stories at 224.43, which actually that's a pretty good
price per square foot.
Yeah, and then we had 11 two-story homes at 183.24. Even that was not shareable.
And so month over month, your price per square foot average is coming out to a decrease of about 1.8%. So about hanging steady, I guess you could say there. And year over year up 2.26%. So your days to contract took 22 days. Okay, that also does not seem believable.
But they're all new build, though.
That's true.
They're all new build.
Right. So then the ones that were listed, kind because these should be resale numbers, and then days to close would be 64 days.
Okay.
Your current active homes on the market are 114 active homes with a 3.1 month supply.
So right now, which zip code has the
longest days on market?
longest days on market?
That's going to be 34771 with 69 days on the market before you get a contract, 69 days, and then 116 to close.
Wow, people.
I know. I never thought I'd see the day that 34773 was doing better than 71.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but I think that could also just be because there's such a large amount of new construction in 7-1.
Yeah.
Like there's so much new construction.
7-3 too.
There is, yeah. But I just feel like 7-1 is
they
like
always have.
there's tons of them. So that's going to impact your resale homes in that area, that's for sure. So that takes care of those. And then you want to talk about the Harmony market report. What happened in Harmony?
Oh, okay. No vacant land yet?
Oh, we could do vacant land first.
Let's do vacant land first.
Let's do vacant land. All right. Sounds
Okay,
good.
so vacant land, it looks like we had 8 parcels that sold. And we always like to point out a little bit about, did anything stand out? So there was a parcel on Earl O. Bronson, of course, which is 192.
And it's actually, I looked it up on the map. It is heading east, so it's past Harmony. It's just past Harmony Central, but it's like immediately past Harmony Central on the south side of the road.
Which is left?
So like if you're heading towards Melbourne, it'd be on your right.
On the right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was a 27.5 acre parcel. It was listed for $2.7 million, and whoever the purchaser was got it for $2.2.
That's crazy.
I know.
I wish I had $2.2 million to sit on.
I know. Another subdivision, perhaps?
Perhaps. I don't want to say I hope not, but please no more. And then, there's some other good parcels that sold, just 2.5 acres on Fanny Bass Road, 132. I hope somebody can build a nice home there for themselves. And, definitely lots of good parcels that sold this month.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, awesome. All right. So what happened in Harmony?
Okay. So in Harmony... Okay, so we had a total of so this is Harmony, Maine, right now that I'm talking about. We had a total number of 9 parcels that sold. 2 of them were townhouses. One was older, one was newer. They came out at 186.41 price per square foot. Then in the resale department, we had 5 that sold, and on single stories we have 4. 2 are 1.32 price per square foot, and 1 2-story at 185.03.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go on to Harmony West Townhouse. There were 4 of them that sold, and they've just been selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And they came in average $230.51. And then Harmony West, which is mostly new, all new, I should say, not mostly, all new. 21 sold, 19 were 1-stories, and 2 2-stories. The 1-stories came at 226.06, and the 2 2-stories came in at 169.44. So they actually come in lower. Lower. Then Harmony Central, all new. They sold 9 parcels, at least on MLS data that we have. 3 single stories, almost the opposite of West. 3 single stories at 244.89, and then 6 2-stories at 183.89.
You know what's interesting to me about that is that Harmony West was more affordable than Harmony Central. Like their prices were lower, price per square foot were lower in Harmony West than they were in Harmony Central.
Interesting.
And I don't know why I thought like if you were to rank the prices, you'd have Harmony Maine as the highest, Harmony West, and then Harmony Central. Like I always thought that Harmony Central was the.
So you included Harmony Maine in that?
In what?
In when you're saying that the Harmony West is the highest.
No. I'm saying that, so like, even if you look at, like in my mind, if you were just to talk to me about the communities, I would say, oh yeah, the main Harmony is going to be the most expensive, the original Harmony. Harmony West would be the next expense, most expensive. Central. And then you would get to Harmony Central, but it's actually
the opposite.
Yeah. Yep. So very interesting. Very interesting. So that takes us through our Harmony market report, or our market report for all of St. Cloud. So let's talk about the Fed's interest rates. They lowered the interest rate. Like they had finally talked about it. It finally happened.
Yes.
They actually did something they said they were going to do, finally, half a percentage point, but there was not much movement in the mortgage rates.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
If anything,
absolutely.
it like ticked a little bit higher. But we had seen some decrease in rates over the past couple of months, I think, leading up to this. Right. So tell us what
happened?
What's the story behind that when you hear like the Fed's cutting the rates a 0.5%, but you don't see it reflected in mortgage rates? Like, what's the relationship?
Well, so normal everyday consumers or news headlines, when you hear that the Feds are cutting their rate, or even they use the word interest rate, people think mortgage interest, but it's not necessarily always correlated, connected. So it was interesting the day that it was happening, which was, let's go back a couple weeks, the 18th of September. I actually called one of our mortgage lenders that we use faithfully and spoke to her. And I said, okay, I know there's no news about the rates, but what are the rates right now on this day? And she, gave me rates for the government loans, FHA, VA, and then said, good credit, whatnot. It was about 6.5%. But what happens in the mortgage industry, they anticipated this drop, so they actually lowered their rates a whole week or more prior.
Right. Ahead of time. So when this actually happened, rates actually went up a little. So anyhow, yeah. And really the Fed's going a whole 0.5 point hasn't been done in a long time, and that's not necessarily, good. We talked about, the economy and affordability. What was the example you did for a house? So I did an example.
Wait, we're in real estate. Should we be doing this? Is it cheaper to rent these days? I don't know.
I think you'd find quite a few millennials with buyer's remorse that say yes, it is. But so if you look at, I think we looked at a $395,000 house, assuming, let's assume it's an FHA buyer, right? You've got 3.5% down. You're calculating, like we were actually looking at a specific home in Harmony. And so, calculating in the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance, the PMI insurance that you'd be paying. And you were looking at just over $3,000 a month for a mortgage payment for a $395,000 house. Like that used to be way less, like $2,000, I swear, so it's still not quite like even for me, like I said, okay, well, hey, maybe, if we sold our house, if we went in with 10% down on the same house, we wouldn't qualify for FHA. So our rate would be a little bit higher. I'm still coming out to a payment of $29.97. And I'm like, that's a lot for
downgrading to a lesser house.
Downgrading to a lesser house, a $395,000 house, a smaller house. I have 6 bedrooms. I'd go to a 3-bedroom. I have a basically new house built in 2022. It's built in, it's just, I can't justify it,
right.
So it's
extremely hard, and extremely hard for first-time home buyers.
Right.
I really feel for them.
Right. It'd be great. I know a lot of people talk about like actually when the rates are high, it's great to be able to get into the market. But I think one of the other problems we have is that over the past couple of years, all of these institutional buyers came in and they really did buy up a lot of our entry-level homes. So there's not even a lot of like homes on the market that you can be like, hey, I'll buy this house. My mortgage payment might be a little higher now, but I can get a good price, decent price, and I can afford the mortgage payment because that's important too, right? And then I'll live there for a couple of years. I'll fix things. I'll remodel the kitchen. I'll remodel the bathroom. Like I'll paint stuff and whatever. But like those aren't even affordable anymore. Now you're still spending $2,500, $3,000 a month on a house. Now you've got to fix it up and hope that the rates come lower, which would then hopefully give you increased equity, which you'd be able to sell and then move up. But we're missing that entry level home right
definitely. Now. Well, and even for like I just had a closing with seniors, and they've been renting. And they're so happy to be able to buy in a cute little townhouse that they bought. But I was really worried for them. If I asked them once, I asked them 5 times. I said, your payment is $1,000 more than you're paying for rent. Can you afford this?
Right.
I do not want to come back and hear you eating cat food. I was serious. I mean, we laughed, but I said, no, I'm serious.
Right.
Like, I know just like car payments, car lenders, oh, you could afford this. And just like mortgage, you could afford this, whatever figures they use. But I sincerely worry that I'm going to be hearing from them in a year telling me they can't afford this house, for people who are retired, an extra $1,000 doesn't come out of nowhere.
Right.
You're cutting something.
Right.
And for me, I was like, they had a cat, you could be eating cat food. I was really worried. I mean, I hear it's a thing. I guess it's a thing, what I mean? But so that concerns me.
So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for affordability. And people to just be able to afford to live. It's really expensive to live out there, and we hope that this is positive things for the housing market in general. And I think there's certainly a large number of people that are in a really good position.
Oh yeah.
To be able to sell their house and buy something else, and and I think those people are still moving.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, you know what, that's fine. Like, I might have to downgrade a little bit, but I can still get a better lifestyle. And it's good for me. I think the people that are really having a hard time are people who bought in the last 2 to 3 years. And I would say 2 years, really, like basically when I bought, because I have the worst timing. If I'm buying a house, don't buy a house. Don't do it.
That happened
Do not
last time,
do it.
right?
I bought in like November of 2006 the last time, and that was when we first started having appraisal issues, and like it was just, I just don't, if I buy a house, don't buy a house. It's a bad sign.
It's like Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Okay. We all want to know what he's buying and selling. So if you want to know if it's a good time to buy a house or not, ask when Kristin's buying.
That's not true. Listen, it's kind of like my old boss said when I worked for a home builder. I got pregnant at 18 and I was having a kid at 19. And he said, there's never a good time to have a baby. Like you'll never be ready. And then I translated that into like the housing. Like you just buy when you can. Right.
Yeah.
And I'll ride out the wave. And I knew that going into this. This was much different than when I bought a house in 2006. And I was like, oh my gosh. But now I'm like, I'm okay with it. This is what I wanted. I wanted a stable place to have my family. I wanted to have a home. I wanted to pay into my own equity. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do, paint the walls.
And that's a big part of it.
Right.
You want to do what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're renting, you always feel like, oh, can I do this? I have to ask. And,
right.
I mean, there is definitely pros also to renting. Like something breaks.
Right.
The landlord fixed it. I got a message today from my tenant that something was broken.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's pros and cons to whatnot. So I was just thinking how lucky your sister Lauren was to have bought a home. She went to college, she worked, and then came here and then bought in Harmony. And what year was that?
April 2021.
Okay.
So like...
And she works in downtown Orlando in the hospital.
Right.
But she's working with, nurses and doctors that haven't bought a house, and they're like, how did you, and this was during multiple offer times, right?
She got, what a blessing.
Yeah, she got a blessing.
That she was able to purchase that home pretty much, off market.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a listing that I was getting ready to list, and I had given the seller the amount that I was listing at, and he had a dream and asked me if I was a woman of faith, and he had a dream and he wanted Lauren to have the house. So the way we worked it out was he just gave me a number that he wanted to walk away with at closing. Mm-hmm. That was it. And I had said to him that I know how much I was listing it for. I know what she could afford, and she can't afford your house. And he said, this is what I want. You work it out. So needless to say, I didn't get paid, right. Which is fine, right? Yeah. Actually, I ended up getting money out of the bank to help her. Because I think originally I said I'd help her, with whatever I was getting paid. And so, but anyway, it is what it is. But I'm just saying how lucky she was.
She really was. She really was. And in 2021, I mean, rates were still really
she's in the
good.
threes. And he wanted her to have it, which that was a blessing that he did. And it was really a sweet closing. They went to closing together. We did the transfer of the keys together. Yeah. He came back to the house. We did pop champagne together. Yeah. Sellers and buyers don't usually do closings anymore together.
Right. So. But it was super big blessing for them because, trying to get into the market. And I mean, they make good money, they should be able to afford houses, but how it's just, not as feasible getting in at this point.
Right. So now I
she was
think
a
of the
blessing.
nurses today, making good money trying to get in.
Right. Yep.
It's hard.
Yep. It sure
Anyway.
is. But anyway, all good
Enough of
things. I
reminiscing.
think, I know. And I think that every economy, every housing market, we just adapt. Right. And when you can get in, you get in. And, and I think,
Just don't get in over your head.
Right. Just don't get in over your head, and account for those property taxes being reassessed, especially if the person who owned your house has been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
You are going to get hit with an increase in property taxes that you really need to be mindful of that.
And if you're a new build also, they tax you on the land the first year.
Right.
The next year it's on the house and the land. So
Right.
that's a big adjustment.
It really is. And I was super grateful that coming into our purchasing a new build, I had worked for a builder for 10 years. So I already knew. I was sitting down and I'm like, okay, what's the sales price? What's the millage rate? And this is how I figure out my taxes. And I was very well prepared. And even when our mortgage lender estimated our taxes, they estimated them lower. And I was like, I think that payment's going to be higher. And thankfully I had prepared for myself for it because, it ended up being higher. And so, thankfully I was just well prepared because I had been exposed to that. But I think a lot of people don't really take that into consideration when they're purchasing.
And the agents, the sales agents, the salespeople that are in the new build, they do talk about it. But I think when you're, especially a first time home buyer, you hear what you want to hear, and you just don't hear or don't understand probably.
Right. And you're excited.
And you're excited.
You're
you
so
want to be
excited.
in there.
You're like, I don't really care if it's going to cost
What's
me
my
an arm and a
payment?
leg.
What's
I'm
my
going to have a
payment?
brand new house, and I'm going to have the colors that I want. And I'm going to, and I get that. But it's about, the bank may approve you for one number, but making sure that you're comfortable with that long term, and you factor in, reassess taxes, insurance, all those kinds of things that do seem to be going up year after year. So, things to consider, but there's still plenty of people moving.
Yep. We're Florida.
Right.
Everyone, Sunshine State. Everyone wants to come here.
Yep, absolutely. So, so we will see you next month for a new episode of Discover St. Cloud. Where we're
New episode.
Yes, we're going to try a different format for the reports. Maybe find some more data for you, some more, fun headlines, maybe a story or two. We'll find out. But so it should be a good format, but you'll have to let us know what you think. But thanks so much for joining us. You could always find us on all of our favorite platforms. And where can they find us? Online.
We're on all social media. You can do it on Facebook, YouTube,
Yep.
Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever.
Yep. And then you can give us a call at
1-844 St. Cloud. That's STCLOUD.
You could also send us an email at discoverstcloud@gmail.com. And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode.
See ya.